First, we're going to need 10 children's plastic hangers. I got these from the Dollar Tree. Next, you're going to need at least 20 zip ties. These need to be the long if possible. Then, you are going to need your handy dandy drill along with a 1/4 inch drill bit. I am doing this by a cordless drill. This wonderful cordless handy dandy drill you can get from Walmart for like $15. Now next, if you do not wish to use a drill and don't feel secure, there are these options: floral wire, pipe cleaner, and chenille stems. We are going to be drilling a hole right there through the plastic tab. You can break these out and try to wire them together, but I'll tell you, it's really hard. And of course, a wonderful pet or friend to help you with your task. The first thing we got to do is, you see how the hanger is pointing to the left? We're going to turn it completely 360 degrees so that they will make a set. I'm going to show you one more time in slow motion. They're pointing to the left. Turn it completely around 360 degrees so that right there where I've got it pre-drilled, it can be zip tied together. We'll make 5 sets. Now when you get your 5 sets made, lay them out and put it into shape as though you are making your star. I recommend the floor. It's big enough. And here we go. Here's our somewhat partial assembly. Now you'll need to attach your zip tie right there to tie all of your sets together. Make sure you do it at each intersection to create your star. Here we go. See how I've got the zip ties as the set, then the sets are tied to each pair, and this will form your star. This will guard the integrity of the star, so you'll need to put a zip tie there and there. I'm going to show you one more time. Zip tie there to keep it from spreading apart, and put those together. So make sure you put those extra zip ties just like this. Now see how stable and sturdy your star is? You'll be able to pick it up, it'll lay flat, and it is hangable. And here we go. This is a beauty. You can put lights on it or whatever you would like. And see where it's zip tied together to support the integrity. You can put the lights on it. Remember, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July. It's 31 by 31 inches, and it is a plenty size. And she's a real beauty. And this is for year-round. First thing you'll need is the mini Christmas tree from Dollar Tree. You can do the green or the white. It's strictly up to you. I will be using green for this tutorial. A variety of ribbon, some bells, assortment of ornaments. Remove your tree from the box. Take the legs that were in there and just place them back in the box. We are not going to need them. The other thing is the little piece that generally holds the legs on. Just pull it right off. We're going to be gluing everything to that. So no big deal. Put that in the box. Toss it. Now, take your tree and spread out your limbs. Every one of your limbs out really, really good. Now, you have 2 options. If you do not have the garland ties, don't sweat it. This is what you do. You will take one of these branches from the back and wrap it in this space. If you flip your tree around, you will notice that you can really tell that this is the back, and you can really tell this is the front, just based on how it's strung here. See this? How it's strung together? Now, what you'll do is you'll take and spread all of your limbs straight out, just like I've got right here. If you don't have the garland ties, like I said, take one of these limbs, and I usually take one from the rear, and I look and see which one's the longest, and this is kind of the longest. And you will literally bring it around that post and just wrap it. That's all you're going to do, that one little branch. You go to the next set, and you'll do the same thing, and that will help fill in that little blank you've got going there, to the point that you may not even use the extra garland ties. This one appears to be the longest on this particular set. So I'm going to wrap it, and see how I'm just kind of loosely wrapping it around that just to give it enough fluff that it's covering up that hollow spot. Do this one the same way. Look, see which one looks to be the longest. Those look to be about the same. I'm going to go for this one and just wrap it around that. You don't have to do tight, just be loose so that it covers the space. And then the same thing here. You can do that, but we have this point where the tree has the place where you usually put a star. If you'll watch me, I'm going to bring mine all the way up to that little section because these limbs are so short and that one is so long, and it would just be in our way. Now, bring all of your branches back down, but bring them forward from what they've got spread out. Don't try to pull on them. Just literally fold them down, just like I'm doing here. Just fold them down and keep folding down. See how easy this is, guys? You cannot get no easier than this. This is the best DIY ever. And it just trucks right like. Okay, so see, now we have everything to the front, and it's looking pretty good. Guys, upon further inspection, I've decided I am going to stagger them. So the best way to do that is basically pull out as much ribbon as you need and go ahead and feed your bell on there and just kind of pretend and imagine and stage it to where it's looking good to you, and that the focal point is where you want it. If you want the bell down here and maybe one right about here. Now I'm going to do mine. I'm going to string off enough ribbon that I can actually glue that up there and cover it up, because the believe's going to go across here. And you just kind of stage this thing the way that you want. Now, if you're doing the bells like I am, and you're doing a staggering type bell, really, there's two ways you can do it. You can do these with one single strip for each, or you can string them on the single strip. If you string them on the single strip, take and do a single tie, okay, like so. And then that way, and because technically this is going to be your first bell, and you just want to make sure that before you tie that you've got that tail as long as you need it in order to get this down here where you want it, because that's going to be your first bell that you're staggering. And then you're just going to tie it, just a single tie. That's all you need. You don't have to glue it or anything, unless you just got some really slick ribbon. It ought to stay without any hesitation. See, it's not, I'm yanking on it, it's not going anywhere. So I've got that one in place. And then you'll do the same thing here. You'll decide, okay, how far do I want that to come down? It's going to be my second in place, or second in command. And how far do I want that bell to be in my staggering that I'm doing with my wreath? Once you figure that out, you'll do the same thing. You can take the whole string if you want to, so that you're not messing yourself up. This is the part that's got the tail to it. This one's already tied. And you just run them right through the loop, like yay. And then that way you've still got that tail down here. It's not being disturbed. You've got the distance that you want with that bell. The cool thing about doing this is if you get in here and you start laying this thing out and you go, oh, that's a little too close or that's too far away, you can loosen that up and just yank on it, just barely pull on it and loosen it back up, move your bell where you want it, and then, of course, tighten the tie back. Okay, guys, I got all my bells strung together, and I've got them staggered like I want them, and that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to tie this off down here and clip it and get it out of the way. And it's okay if it has a little bit of a tail to it. They'll actually be just a bit of a compliment to the whole arrangement here. Now we've got our bells assembled. Now we need to figure out how big a bow we want, or if we want any more ornaments on this. So I love that believe so good that I took my silver paint marker and I started like just round in the crevices and areas in the trim of that believe with that silver, so it has that gold silver. I topped my tree with some poinsettias and berries by gluing them directly to that metal. Now take your needle nose pliers, press that thing flat. I mean completely flat. Be very careful. And then wrap it with some ribbon or fabric or something to protect you from the metal. This will also give a good spot for your bow to adhere to. So then I decided to take my buffalo check, make me a beautiful ribbon. Made it rather large, and then as I do before, I fold it together, bend it back, and then take another piece and glue around it. And that just makes it into a beautiful individual bow. And once I got that done, I added some tails, and I made these very long so that I could actually kind of feed them through the greenery of the tree. And I also dovetailed them. So turn your wire to the left and cut from the right to the left. If you're left-handed, turn your wire to the right and cut from the left to the right. And then make your tails with the pleat like I do and glue them on there and just kind of run them through it. Put your bow on, and voila, you have this beautiful mini swag. So make sure you get you some mini Christmas trees from Dollar Tree and make these beautiful swags. And they are stunning. Fit most everywhere. One of my favorite pieces in my home. In this short pause, I wanted to introduce myself. Hi guys, I'm Elizabeth here on the Dandysoap DIY channel. This collection that you're viewing are the videos that you either liked the most or they were the most viewed here on YouTube. And I am a July baby. This is my favorite month of the year, and I can hear those jingle bells. So we're going to celebrate one of my favorite holidays by doing Christmas in July. If you have not subscribed to this channel already, go ahead and hit that bell and give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Share this on all your social media channels and check me out on all the social media channels, including Instagram. You guys, thank you for coming over and joining me in doing Christmas in July to celebrate my birthday. So let's get back to the videos. Let's go. On Farmhouse-Style Christmas Decor. This will be basically a window that you can sit about, and it's a wonderful gift, and it is so easy to make. You're going to love it. Supplies. You will need ice cream sticks of some sort, either the small or the medium. The Jenga tower blocks from Dollar Tree. The metal verbiage lettering from Dollar Tree. If you do not have these, you can make them out of cardboard. You can use wood. Anything that you want will work. Some floral picks of any sort, Christmas sort, is what we're looking for. An assortment of ribbon. That is simply your choice to match whatever you like, whichever ribbon you like. And an assortment of different sizes. The bow that I'm going to teach you on this DIY, you will be able to make any size bow you want out of any size ribbon. You can use an 8x10 frame from the Dollar Tree. Chicken wire or this wire mesh basket. The waste basket or the wire mesh basket from Dollar Tree will work just fine. We have our frame, and we're going, this one is already whitewashed white, which is perfect. What we're going to do is we're going to turn our Jenga blocks on their side, and we're going to actually glue them to the outside perimeter around your frame. So if you're using an 8x10 frame, you've removed all the glass and you have only the frame. And you see how I am meeting those all the way to the edge. Pick out which word you want to run through this area. I'm going to use the word believe. If you are using the metal letters, take one of your rough pair of scissors and you're going to cut them. Be careful. Now with the needle nose pliers, I'm just checking my edges and just pressing them to make sure that there's no rolled metal so that these will not bite me from where I cut them apart. And the needle nose pliers does real good at just flattening them back into place, and just use it like a metal press. is take our chicken wire or our wire mesh and measure how much we're going to need. And using our wire cutters, we'll clip it to fit. Whenever we do this, we simply want the edge of our wire to be in the midway of this frame. Chicken wire is easily cut with a pair of scissors, and so is the wire mesh on the baskets from Dollar Tree. You can cut right through that wire. We are not worried about these edges right here because we will be gluing an ice cream stick over them to protect us from the raw edges. Guys, once you've got your wire mesh cut out and fitted, to make sure that no one gets hung on a sharp wire around our frame, and take your sticks and use a generous amount of glue, and then go ahead and glue your frame, glue those to the frame and cover up the chicken wire, and do that all the way around your frame. Just anchor your wire into place. Depending on your frame will determine how many jingle blocks and how they will fit, but size them up before you glue anything down. Once you've got those selected, glue them together, glue them to your frame, and proceed with painting them in a whitewash. I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a terrible time deciding which ribbon I want to use. So I've decided to take my 2.5 inch wide buffalo check and cut me a strip. What I was going to tell you guys is, if you select a ribbon that has a wire in it, to make this look cosmetically better, we don't want this little wired rolled edge on the side of that ribbon, so we're going to have to cut it off. I don't want anything to disturb this tightness of this ribbon. If you guys can see, it is, stretched across there. I glued it here and I glued it here. And that's exactly what you'll do to suspend your words above the chicken wire or your wire mesh. Share with you guys on floral picks is, for example, when you're dealing with greenery, if you're if you have various ribbons and you're doing different things in this Christmas and buffalo check and farmhouse style, one thing you might want to bear in mind is you can choose one color of greenery, or if you're unsure of where you're going to place this in your house and you have different mixes of greenery, then you can put a color of each in your arrangement, because it is your arrangement. This is 4 different greens that you see there. So whenever you're doing a floral, you need to bear in mind, where am I going to put it? What's it going to be around? Is it a variation? And then that way, if you can somehow work it to where you can put more than one color of green into your arrangement, it not only gives it depth and variation, but it also gives you the versatility to use it in more than one spot. And it is something that'll be classic. It'll last for years. And when you get it out next year, you'll be going, oh, wow, that still looks just as nice as it did when I fixed it. And it'll just last a lot longer, and you'll get more returns on the work that you've done doing your DIYs. So buy quality florals when you can, when it comes to greenery of the pine sort. At Christmas, most of the time you can find a lot of stuff, but if you find something that's a little more bushier, or if you can buy a bunch of it and bundle it together, you will really benefit, and it'll give you happy returns over and over. So just a FYI on when you're doing floral arrangement, some of the things to bear in mind. You do want to pre-stage any of your floral arrangements before you glue anything down, and before how you like it. Get up close and personal with it, tinker with it, move some stuff around, and just pull on it and get them situated where you like them, where you want, to where you can see what it is that you're wanting to see what's the most relevant to you, and then proceed in gluing it into spot or tying it into spot. And then that way, you know, you kind of, now you see up close and personal exactly how that's going to look to you. And then go from there. I'm going to put my glue there. Go ahead and just put my floral up there. So now it's time to make a simple ribbon bow. And I literally only used 3 strips. I slowed the tape down to show you how to dovetail a ribbon. Always turn your wire to the left and cut from the right up to the tip of the wire to the left. If you're left-handed, you'll do the opposite. Turn your wire to the right and then cut from the left to the tip of the wire to the right. And voila, you now have your dovetailed ribbon. So going back to our ribbon bow, I selected 3 that I really liked, and I dovetailed 2 of them. And you can see I'm kind of working it out here because 2 of them are wired, the other one is not. Tied some G-twine around them, left the tails on the G-twine, and just kind of arranged it and stretched it out, glued it into place. Voila. Now it's time to put on our letters and glue them into place. And this is called a tassel ribbon. And I needed to dress up my little bell. And I wanted it to match, I believe, with the rest of the sign. So I created this little ribbon stripped tassel, glued it to the bell, wrapped it with some G-twine, tied it, and then that way it will look really cute and match my arrangement. Now, I used a paper clip in the back of this sign, guys, so that this bell is not constantly dangling and ringing. Bent it and glued it into place with an ice cream stick, and then that way I could set my bell on it once it was tied to the chicken wire. And that'd just keep it from ring-a-ling-a-linging whenever it's sitting on my pantry door. And that way people can take it down and ring it as they like. And here she is. What a beauty. I hope you guys really, truly enjoyed that. It is one of my favorite pieces for Christmas. And it is something that can be converted into something year-round decor. DIY is going to be a rag Christmas tree. And this is made out of scrap fabrics and so forth, but we're going to be using a Dollar Tree fleece scarf, a wooden rod, a tree branch, or a stick. You'll need a pail or bucket of some kind, styrofoam, in order to secure this down in the bottom of your pail or bucket. Styrofoam does not need to fill your entire area of your pail, or it's going to be working as a foundation to keep your stick held up steady. Glue there, and then put my stick back down in there. I don't want my tree to start turning like this if I'm tying to it. And your strips need to be at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches wide. And this first set of strips will be 12 inches. Okay, now that this should be set up, yep. So basically all you're going to do is just tie. Just tie it. Don't have to be tight, just tie it. Builds and gets taller, it's going to get more droopy. And now as you're tying, you'll start to notice that you need to turn your tie knot as you go up, simply because your strips will lay dowy and just downward. And you can fill this thing as much as you want or as least as you want. It's strictly up to you. It's your tree. Now, guys, you'll continue to cut your strips at 1.5 inches wide, and you will also deduce in your length, such as your next round will be 11 inches long, 10 inches long, 9 inches long, etc., till about 6 inches is as small as you're going to be able to cut your strip in order to tie it. And then make adjustments. Fill it in where you feel it needs a little more. And go back and cut you a strip and just tie it in. And then just slide them down until they drape and gather and dowie the way that you like. Adorn the top of it with any floral that you desire, whether it be Christmas or daily. And I added a poinsettia with a little bit of burlap ribbon and an apple and pine cone and just some florals there. And it just turns out lovely. And this is something nice for year round. It really is up to you. And it just turned out beautiful. It's so large I couldn't show the whole thing on camera. But I promise I will give you a great shot right here. You guys, Cece can do it. Did this on her video. You're going to definitely need your glue gun. You know, everything here came from Dollar Tree. You are going to need your wire cutters. This is a necessity. We have got to clip a section out of this wreath. You will use a 12-inch wreath form. If you have a 14, that's fine. You'll work with it. You'll see. You'll figure it out. You are going to need the scrub buddies, guys, the dry floor cloth. You will need painter's tape or duct tape, electrical tape. You will just need some tape. You will need one of the white rectangular plastic table covers. And guys, either some fabric or the backing of something. You will need a felt piece of square. This is actually for the Santa face on the crescent moon. When this thing comes together, I'm telling you, it's insane. You're going to love it. Now, you're going to, of course, my favorite stuff, ribbon. This Santa hat that I got from Dollar Tree. All right, please listen carefully. You will need some thread. You will need a needle to thread your needle. And you will understand when we get into this. First thing we have to do is prepare our wreath. So, of course, we need to remove the price tag. Now, what we are going to do is we're actually going to remove this section. Okay? One whole section out of your wreath form. So, I am going to show you how I'm doing this. And then, after that, I'm going to turn you guys loose and pause the camera and come back to this. So, my needle nose pliers are also wire cutters. And you can pick up one of these at a hardware store or Walmart or anywhere, really. You don't have to fight and struggle with it. Okay, so I'm going to finish up this section and come right back. Now, gang, I have removed that section. You see, I've broken that apart away from the wreath with my wire cutters, and you just want to put that in a place out of your work area. Now, see what's happening here? When we press these together, see when we press those ends together, it is making our crescent moon shape. That's what we're after. So what you're going to need to do is take your tape, and I'm going to do this side, and then you guys do the same, and I'm going to pause the camera while I get this wrapped up real good and tight. Okay, so just tape that up a little bit, and that is all you need to do. Voila, we're done with that side. Now move on and do this end. I'll be right back. Next, we are going to take the rectangular tablecloth cover, and we're going to wrap it around this bottom half of the crescent moon. Is Dust Buddies. Okay, per Cece's instructions, we will take 3 of these and lay them out, and you can stack them on top of each other. So we need 3 of those stacked together real quick, and then you fold those in half like so. Just get them folded in half. That's all you need. And then you're going to cut these 2 inches a piece, or I hope you guys can make out what I've got going here. It's better for you to lay it out, just fold it in half, lay it out, and then you'll take your scissors and you'll do a little curve in there, like a scallop. And then you'll have this, and you'll fold this out, and that's going to give his beard character. You'll then take your needle and your thread and make sure that you keep it running in the same direction. What it's doing is helping your beard to gather, so that when you start to glue this beard on, it's already gathered and ready to go. But Sissy has really hit a home run on this, because I'm just so excited to show this, guys. Just share it with you and do this along with you and show you how to put it together. It is just so neat. It's different. Okay, gang, now is the time we get to start gluing our beard on. We have it all gathered up here. So, starting right here at the edge, just a little ways up, right where you know the metal is, per se. Okay, guys, if you've been working your beard, you should be at the point now to where you're at the halfway mark. We're going to be going up the back side here for his hair. 5.5 inches wide by 5 inches long, and you just want to cut a 5.5 inch by 5 inches. Bend, take your 5.5 by 5, and your shorter side, which is your 5-inch side, take your needle and your thread and just run and stitch, just like we did for the beard, about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch away from the edge. Thread through there, because it's not really necessarily need a knot, but I'll put a knot in there. This is going to work. This is to just draw up that raw edge so that it's not sticking out. And Cece says to basically, you want this corner to stay kind of tucked over here, so it's covered up, and we're going to draw that right up to that edge, so it'll stay tucked. So now that I've got that pretty much where I want it, just run you a bead of glue through there. Now, underneath here, we're going to be gluing this in the back. And now we're going to puff this out. We're going to stick our polyfill in there to get that to fill out a little bit. Just make sure your glue is good and dry before you try filling this in. So now that'll be puffed out for us. Glue that down. Now, to make his nose, we got our square. Basically, what we need for the nose is a 2.5 by 2.5 inch square. You can take leftover felt if you want to, which is what Cece did, or you can use a little polyfill like what I'm doing. And I'm going to make this easy on me. I'm going to do exactly what Cece did. I'm going to make a nose by folding this up and kind of putting it in a ball. Ponds from Dollar Tree if you wanted to. But being that we've got all this out, you don't have to do all that. You can use what you got. That's why they call it DIY. We are DIYing it, and I hope Cece is proud of us when we get this done. See how well we did or how bad we did and all. And she's such a smart lady. I love this. I love that she did this for us. And see how we're just trying to make a little nose there? I think y'all get what I'm trying to do here. Now we have our nose in place, and we need to pick out an eye. So if you have some buttons or the googly eyes, Cece used a googly eye, but she also suggested buttons. And so the eye will go right about there. And I'm probably going to use a button because I have some googly eyes. I just don't know where they're at. And that looks about right there. Now we're going to go back and finish up our beard. And I'm just going to put a small bead right there because I want that to finish up. And then I'm going to be bringing that hair up the side here. So, keeping it going the same direction as we were going a while ago. Guys, we've got our beard on, we have our hair, and we have our eye, and we have our nose of our Santa. Now it's a matter of putting his hat on. And that's going to put it about right. And then any difference I can roll behind so that it keeps that crescent moon shape like what I'm wanting. I'm going to take off my pom-pom that I can put back on there because I need a hole right here. And that hole is going to allow me to run my jingle bells in there. So I selected a red bell and a silver bell and 2 of the red bells. Ran my ribbon through them, tied them together, and then strung them so that they would be kind of, I don't know, staggered. And then I placed them onto the vinyl and glued it down, and then glued the hat back down as well. Now they're really set. And then I just wrapped that hat excess real tight, put the trim around it, and put a little bit of mistletoe with some berries on his hat just to give it that little extra sparkle. And in the back, I sewed in a little tie, make it easier so he would hang correctly. And he just turned out beautifully. Just fluff him up, and he stays clean, and I just love it. And we are going to make the Hangar Angel in a miniature fashion. These are the children's clothes hangers, plastic clothes hangers from Dollar Tree. So, the easiest way for me to explain to you is you will need some zip ties, or you want to drill a 1/4 of an inch. Get you a 1/4 of an inch drill bit and drill you a 1/4 of an inch hole in each side of your hanger. You have both of your hangers laying the same direction. If you're sliding this one out and you are hooking it to there, so they make this shape. Now there are some of them who are flipping this over and doing it this way to make an oblong shaped heart, and that will work too. And this will make the angel's figure. So we're going to make 3 sets for the body, okay? Just like so. And you're going to place 2 of them at the bottom and 1 at the top. You will then connect them here on each side and then down here at the bottom. Make sure you have at least a 1/4 of an inch drill bit to open up your hole. I said you don't necessarily have to drill a hole if you have hangers by chance that do not have this piece, but you can also take and tie these with floral wire or chenille stems if you do not want to do a drill bit and do the zip ties. It will still work. The wings work the very same way. Okay, you're going to have your hangers either pointing to the left, your hook pointing to the left. Once again, you're going to slide this one out, bring it around, and lay it just like that, and zip tie it here at the holes. And that will make your angel's wings. See how they look in a V? And you'll do 2 sets. You'll do 1 set for the right and 1 set for the left. So now we've assembled our angel. If you will see, you have your triangle, okay? And then you have your wings. So you have some options here on how you want to buckle your wings. If you made your opening large enough, you can actually connect all that and stack it. You know, it'll be like on top of each other, which is fine. Or you can do what I'm going to do, and that's how I'm going to push those as close as I can together, and then I'm going to use zip ties to tie this together. Make her the more elaborate set of wings by hooking 3 of these together to give her a broader spread of wings, so that the angel wings come up from behind her head. You will use all 12 of them. So one on the bottom, and put one on top of it and another on top of it to do that. If you options for her head, wire waste basket from Dollar Tree. And your other options are use your floral wire and take a stocking and make it make you a circle out your floral wire and pull a stocking over it. And then the other option that no one has used yet, which is one of the wreaths from Dollar Tree, and using that instead. I've got this one that I made from the larger one. I took it and I cut it down, and I just have not pushed my branches in. The other one is this one. So all of those, that just looks really, really nice, that wreath right there. And you could wrap it with garland or whatever. After that, you guys, you can adorn this with lights and ribbon and floral arrangements and anything you want. So, okay, everybody, here is the clothes hanger angel. I have placed one of the Dollar Tree solar lights on it, so when that hangs outside on my porch, the sun will regenerate the battery. And then I took the string lights from Dollar Tree and wrapped them around, and just some of the frosted fern and poinsettias from Dollar Tree. And then the battery pack is right there. So when I hang this on my front porch rail, I'll be able to hit the button for the batteries. I just wanted to share and show y'all how beautiful she turned out. This is one of the bamboo wreaths from Dollar Tree, and it's just the right size. You could use the wicker one as well, or you could use a tin pan, the leftover from our wastebasket DIY when we did the mesh for the chicken wire. And then so you guys can see her, she is roughly over 3 feet tall. I would gamble to say that she is 3 feet and 3 inches, and then the span of her wings. Now she will fit on a large house front door. See if you do the 3 wing span, and then the other part is going to be, you're going to take your zip tie and tie them against her. And I also put glue to reinforce everywhere that these places meet. And then I just cobbleted all that together. I strapped these on, and then I strapped her body to those, and then I strapped the wreath right here to the wings, and she will support her weight hanging. Okay guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching, and I hope you enjoy this DIY. Hey gang, Elizabeth here, Dandysoap Channel, and today we're going to do a project that is a woodland scenery. I have the metal letters from the Dollar Tree, and I'm planning on either using the Peace or the Joy. I also have some pine cones and some various greenery, Dollar Tree as well. I have some wood pieces. These slats come from Walmart. They're real easy to pick these up for a couple of dollars, and you may want to use that in the front and put the word or whatever you would like on it. Or there again, I may just use the metal letters. I have some chunks of wood here from our kennel pile, and I'm going to use these, to set my display on. I also have some deer, which you can pull these apart and get 2, and with the narrowness, I may only use one of them. I may use both of them. I have the trees also from Dollar Tree, and these were all in the ornaments. With this, you got 2, and I've already used 1. Additionally, this is the stove cover in the set. You have a small one and a large. I'm going to be using that to put my display inside of. You will need some Mod Podge. And this star I picked up, it is
it's 3D, and I got this at Dollar General for $1, and I actually pulled it apart, and I soaked it a little bit to get some of the glitter off of it, and my intentions are to use it up here at the top. You'll also want some black paint to paint the stove cover. So the first thing you want to do, guys, so that you don't have to sand this, so I've already Mod Podged my pan, so now I will paint it black. Because I'm going to be using some wood blocks or these pieces of wood to place my display on, I'm going to paint it black as well. You can also paint it white. I don't even know that much of this will show by the time you put your signage and all of your greenery around it, but it is one of those things you might want to paint just in case you think it might be revealed. Gotten my pan painted, and I did not want it like perfect. I wanted it to look sparing, but as you can see, it took a single coat simply because I put Mod Podge on it prior to painting it. And then I've done my wood sticks. I went ahead and just painted them black on all the areas I know that will be showing. And next thing I'm going to do is I have these glitter, and this is like little snowflakes. These came from the Target dollar spot. I want this display to be more like a midnight woodland, and I have a new brush, so I'm going to try it out. But always pre-dampen your brush with a little bit of water prior to coating anything with your Mod Podge, and that'll keep your Mod Podge real smooth and coated really good. And I don't want to be really specific on this, just whatever will cling is fine with me. So I'm anxious to see how well this will turn out. And as you can see, it clings really good to the Mod Podge. And I am going to use the silver just sparingly. That's exactly, I want a starry midnight sky. And this is going to look really good. I've now discarded and removed any of the glitter and just boxed it up into a container. And now I'm staging my scenery how I want it to look. And I took the deer apart, and I'm setting one up higher, the way this scenery will look. So I'm going to glue down my trees, and then I'll be able to put my display upright and attach it, and then begin putting my greenery around it. Now I have everything glued into place, and to ensure that my glitter doesn't come off, a new product that Dollar Tree has been carrying is this multi-purpose spray adhesive, and it dries clear. So I'm going to spray just a shot on there, and that will help hold my glitter in place. It will work better than hairspray or any of the other spray adhesives, and the tack, it will dry clear and it won't have any tack to it. So now I'm going to attach my display to the wood slats that I have put together, and you can use Jenga blocks for this display if you want to. Now I've got my pan glued to the blocks, and what I do, and I'm going to do on camera, is I am going to put what I call glue insurance, and I always put me a bead in the back, and that will just help keep things in place. And right now I'm just staging out where I want to put everything and how long it needs to be in order to place it where I'm wanting to place it. Rating our display and just putting everything strategically where we'd like to place it, making it look nice. And so I'm just going to put a little glue on that and place it back there. Now putting your greenery on will take you a moment because the glue will have to dry. If you're running your gun at a lower temperature, a cooler temperature, you can move a little more swiftly when you're putting the glue on.
So guys, I just started gluing in my greenery and my decoration on to my wood slats as well as the pan. And you'll see here in a moment how I glue the back of this and climb it up the side of the pan. That gives it full coverage. And believe it or not, guys, this was a Kirkland doobie, and I think I nailed it. I really do. And this turned out beautiful. It was a gift for my future in-laws, for my future son-in-law's mother. Now, I'm getting my joy staged here. If you will take your sanding sponge and sand that metal and scruffy it up just to texturize, to take the shine off and texturize it. It will glue to whatever you put it on. It will adhere and not move. Now, on this star, I took an ice cream stick. I painted that ice cream stick black, glued it onto the pan, and then glued the star to it. And of course, I always put my glue insurance, and it made it really easy. And it stayed put. It did not move, shift, or nothing. And I went back and put additional glue insurance. Guys, this woodland scenery turned out beautiful, and it did not cost me $45.
Hi DIY, we are going to transform these reindeer from Dollar Tree into some standing, flying reindeer. This was inspired by Glue Guns and Roses. She has a YouTube channel. If you get an opportunity, her name is Megan. You should go over and check her out. We first have to soak these in some hot soapy water to try and remove some of this glitter. Buffalo check, 1 yard, seasonal, from Walmart. Buffalo check ribbon. You can use either one of these. So using our Mod Podge from Dollar Tree to put our fabric on. Some wooden dowels. Any reindeer you will be doing will determine how many dowels you will need and how tall you wish them to be. I've got the glitter cleaned off, you guys, in the hot soapy water along with my spatula, and I just scraped it off literally and both sides. Go ahead and dampen your brush, leave it damp, and then we're going to put Mod Podge on these deer.
So apply your Mod Podge all over the plastic of the deer. Lay your fabric out on it and smooth it good. And I removed the antlers to make it easier to apply. Put you a second coat of Mod Podge over that fabric and let it dry really good. You'll need an X-Acto knife or a thin razor blade because it's very eccentric pieces. So now I'm going to put the antlers back on. And the way they were originally, guys, they just didn't look right. So I reversed them, just like Megan did. And I hot glued it into place, and then I put some painter's tape on there to really secure it and counteract the weight of it. So now I'm going to make a bow tie for the reindeer as she did. So I took the wide ribbon and I slendered it by cutting it in half and cutting off the wire edge, glued it in place, and then I took the little bells that I got in a package from Dollar Tree, and I'm just securing this ribbon to go all the way around to the back so it looks more uniform. And glued those bells across there at the very top of it, so to speak. I glued 3 into place, and that it's so small, it's all it's going to hold of those little tiny bells. So now it's time to make a bow to top this thing off. And I took the wide again and I cut it in half. And I made just a little bow tie, like a traditional bow tie. And you'll see me here just checking the ribbon, make sure it's folded in half for sizing. And then I am going to just cut that off and just make a single bow tie. I scrunch it together. I take another piece of the ribbon, guys, and I glue it around it to make a perfect little bow. And it is just so cute. And I wanted long tails on my bow, so I decided to take that same ribbon, and I'm showing you how to dovetail it. You'll basically take your ribbon, fold it to where the wire is to one side. I am right-handed, so my wire's to the left, and so I'll take my scissors, and I'll cut from the right to the left. And that's an easy dovetail. And I just kind of crease it and glue it into place. And I'm going to show you a second rendition of doing that ribbon again. First, I'm going to dovetail it by putting the wire to the left, cutting from the right to the left. And now in slow motion, I kind of fold it and then bend it back to crease it. Now I glue it into place. And then I just top it with a bow. It is so gorgeous. Take your black paint marker and color in the hooves because I didn't put fabric on that part. I wanted it to look traditionally black hooved deer. Now it's time for our letters. I chose Peace and Joy because I actually had 3 deer. If you will take your sanding sponge and rough up the metal, it will adhere better. It takes the shine off the back. This particular antler I did with burlap. It will take time to do all those eccentric swirls, but guys, look at the difference, and they are beautiful. I did not put mine on the wooden dowels. I actually took wire, floral wire, and tied them to my front porch rails, and they were beautiful. They looked like they were running and dashing, and the whole neighborhood just loved them. Now here, I just rested it upon my quilting stand. Absolutely beautiful. These were my favorites.
We're going to make us a standing tall snowman. And what you're going to need is probably the snowman, also this year's sign, ho ho ho. The first thing we want to do is we want to remove all the pieces from off of this snowman. So I'm going to remove his bow tie because I'm probably going to replace it with a scarf. I'm going to remove his nose. Want to save all these pieces. I'm going to remove the brim of his hat, which I'm probably going to use this side. And then these pieces just peel off. Yours may be fabric. If it is, just remove the whole piece of fabric. First thing we want to do, base coat both these pieces in solid white. This lower part only, and I haven't even taken the paint out of my brush. And I think I've showed you the peace sign method. The peace sign is, make the peace sign like you're going to poke your fingers in his eyes. And then turn the peace sign from his poking in the eyeballs. So you use your peace sign and turn it. And then that way you know where to put his nose. If you don't already own the Sharpie black paint markers, this is a set you really need. These are awesome for doing the spot painting like we're doing here. And basically, the diameter of that pen is about the size of the eyes that he had before. So we may make those a little bit larger. So make the peace sign. You're going to stick your fingers into his eyes. And I just take a pencil and trace over the top. That way I know exactly where his eyes need to go. Same thing, peace sign from his nose to his mouth. Okay, and then you can make his eyes to express any way you want to. Like this one, for example, is like the top of a semicolon. So I think you just call it a colon or a comma. And basically the black of the eye is going towards the center. So obviously, if this is going towards the center, this one needs to go that way to make him look like he's looking over there. If you don't feel comfortable making this type of eyeball, you can, of course, just make circles. I know the trick is getting on the same size. So there you go. Now he looks excited. And as far as the mouth, since it's this away, the tongue is going to fall somewhere in there, so to speak. So if you wanted to make it look like he's blowing or he's just excited, you can actually leave it just like that if you wanted to. It's really up to you. You can do the dots to make him look like he's smiling. You can make him look any way you want to. How's that? Just a few little tidbits that you can do in order to make your snowman look excited for the winter. Yay! Another thing that you can do is if you have the Sharpie paint marker, you can use the Sharpie paint marker if you want to and put some dots there, and that will brighten up his eyes. More whimsical looking snowman, like I've already put his mouth and eyes looking surprised. I'm also giving him some little rosy cheeks. And the way that I did that is I have the Merlot Waverly chalk paint and of course white that was already left over on my brush. And I just really watered it down. Make sure you brush it dry to where it is just barely a fade of pink. I mean, it is just like barely a fade of pink. And then going in a circle, and make sure you close your circle up, make it small. And we've got his little rosy red cheeks. As I said, you can do this face or any face that you want on your snowman. And we got to finish up his. Now I'm going to make this foam core board. Is right here at this edge is where I'm sizing up my foam core board. So I want to go all the way to that indentation. And I'm just going to take my pencil and trace it out so I know where to cut. And you can use your razor knife or your X-Acto knife to make that. And don't forget, you'll probably have to paint these pieces as well. And just in case there is a difference on this side, I'm going to make the smart move and flip it over. Okay, so I've cut the foam core board and I've painted the pieces so that it all matches. And I want to add that there on the sides. And this will give it a little bit broader stroke. Also, I've varnished my sign here. So see how that's going to make that look larger, a lot wider. And so I'm just going to basically take the hot glue gun and glue these into place. Okay, so now we're ready to do our believe on the bottom here, if that's what you decide to do. Once again, returning to my Sharpie paint marker. And I'm just going to free-handedly write.
Now use a generous amount of hot glue on this sign. Take your jumbo ice cream sticks, put one on the snowman to level it, and then use the others to glue to both sides to support it. And do your glue insurance. I had these wooden snowflakes. I love these snowflake ornaments, and I wanted it to look like the believe was bursting. So I took some of the silver, and I painted them, and I glued them on. Then, taking the burlap ribbon, I made his scarf, and made him some tails to it too. But then I had that stocking that I had gotten from Dollar General, and I robbed it of its fleece around the lining, and took the buffalo check away from it as well, and used that to trim out the scarf. And I had these belled ornaments and I loved them, so I decided to take one of them, and it had a little bit of a silver poinsettia, and glued that on. And it just made him pop perfectly. Now up there at the hat, I had some ribbon from Dollar Tree, and it had snowflakes on it and was silver. Trimmed out his hat, put a little bit of berries on it, and it is a beautiful, tall, standing snowman.
Hi gang, Elizabeth here, Dandysoap Channel on YouTube, DandelionSoap.com website, and I have us a new Dollar Tree DIY project. It is the mini tabletop ornament. Very clever. Supplies. You will need 2 of these red colanders from the Dollar Tree, a set of lights. If you have some already 50 lights, this is the 20 that has a plug-in. This is the battery operated LED. Some floral picks of Christmas sort, and most definitely ribbon.
So the first thing you'll do is feed all 10 of your LED lights through the hole on that mini colander. 5 will go in the upper part and 5 will go in the lower part. So as you can see here, I'm working it out. I got them all adjusted and then I started gluing them. Use your hot glue gun on low temp and they will adhere immediately. Once you get that done, you'll want to go back and put what I call glue insurance. And I just went and re-glued back across the wire. As long as it's on low temp, it will not melt the wire on these lights. Now, when you get ready to place your top onto it, make sure you switch your gun back to high temp and go around it really good. Use a generous proportion of glue and glue your top onto your bottom. Now, I used the Elephant Waverly chalk paint and decided to paint mine just out of curiosity, and it turned out gorgeous. I then took the silver and just started pouncing my brush on there to give it a galvanized, hammered metal look. And guys, it turned out great. No one else had painted theirs in previous pictures, Pinterest, everywhere, and I decided to do mine, and it turned out gorgeous. Now use your E6000. You're going to glue your battery pack. Make sure the screw's towards you so you can change your batteries out. Glued it on the side. And then I'm going to take burlap ribbon, the wire, the wide, and I glued it around that outer edge and to cover up that little handle on the mini colander next to the glue pack. Or excuse me, the battery pack. Make sure you wavy your glue back and forth so that it glues both sides of that ribbon. And just cut slits to make it fit. I then chose a Christmas pick of sorts to cover up that battery pack and I glued it on. Now I took the red buffalo check ribbon, glued it on top of the burlap, and then made me a bow. And I am sizing it here, and I just pressed it together, took a piece, and wrapped it around the center. Now I went ahead and made the tails first and got them placed onto my ornament. That way the bow, in its large proportion that I made it, would cover it perfectly. And this particular project, guys, I'm going to tell you the angled tails looked better. So I cut the ribbon tails at an angle. And guys, I hung this thing in my kitchen on the cabinet, lit up at night. During the day, it is absolutely beautiful. It is stunning. And I have a great big tobacco stick star in my den on the wall. It's very large. I hung this from the center of it. I'm telling you, it got so many compliments. One of my favorite pieces I did this Christmas. There she is. She's gorgeous. So let's take the Dollar Tree sled sign, and we are going to turn this into a primitive farmhouse country Christmas lidded sled that hangs up on the wall. Now I took a pencil and doing the rubbing method from school and rubbed over the letters so that the Merry Christmas would show up really, really good. And then I dry brushed it with the truffle just to bring it out just a little bit more shading. I also painted the sled rudders with it. And telling you here that I'm getting my black paint markers ready, and I'm trying to shade my sled here. And as you can see, doing some more dry brushing. Then I took my ruler, laid it down, using my flat brush, dipped it in the truffle, and just straight went down the side there and made the lines very distinct. And it turned out really good there. So being this is a sled, and when I grew up, you just beat and banged. And I do seal everything with Mod Podge. But I took this Glacier Blue, and I just kind of put it everywhere so it looks almost like a snow skint, icy effect on the sled to make it look more lifelike. And then again, some more dry brushing, and I went ahead and I sealed it with the matte varnish that Waverly has designed for these chalk paints, or their acrylics. and sealed it up really, really good. And that will give it kind of a natural smear too. Now, using the berries from Dollar Tree and the little seeded lights from Dollar Tree, I went ahead and put the berries on there. I painted the Merry Christmas in with the black paint marker, and I also put the LED seed lights on. Now, this Joy, this 10 star, I had gotten from Dollar General, but I wanted it to conceal that battery pack. So what I did is I took some ice cream sticks and I break them purposely because of the dip in that tin. And I used Velcro to Velcro it to the battery pack. So that I glued those sticks on to make up the gap difference. And then that way I put the Velcro on it so it would go against the battery pack. And you can turn them on and off, and it's going to rise above it. And see, it just takes up that gap difference for you. And that's just one of those things you can do to lighten your load. Now, in looking at her, she looked gorgeous, but she needed a bow. I just couldn't bear it. And I felt the rope would be great for the sled. And I just took and glued it into a circle there to make a knot. And as you can see, I twisted it and got it ready, and then used the hot glue and then bent it back on itself. That way it made that knot to hold it by. Now, I made a burlap bow, just a simple one. And then I made the tail separately, very short and stumpy. And then I kind of put a wave in them. And I did my little unique pleat crease, glued it behind it, then glued the bow over top of it to conceal it. She turned out so awesome. I'm very, very pleased. Another one of my very favorites, as well as yours. This was a much viewed video, and I certainly keep that in mind. Get this sign from Dollar Tree, the sled. And guys, the sky is the limit. I have seen these things done up in so many different ways. So this is just another great thing you can do. And here it is.
If you have not subscribed to this channel already, go ahead and hit that bell and give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Share this on all your social media channels and check me out on all the social media channels, including Instagram. You guys, thank you for coming over and joining me in doing Christmas in July to celebrate my birthday.
Happy 4th, y'all. Thank you so much for coming over. This is Elizabeth saying until the next DIY. Over and out. Bye, guys.